Hi everyone, Mature Simmer. So welcome back here to Hobo's Hollow. Just gonna set my GPS line, and I'm gonna get these oats off the field and get some straw, most importantly. So I did just do the server sync, so it is pretty early in the morning, but you know, things are moving along. So get the PTO connected. Trying to remember now. There we go. Alright. So I'm like, I think I'm unfolded, looking at the hopper at the top and so forth, but just wasn't sure. Alright, so off we go. So, did run out of straw a little while ago, so the cows have been stagnant. The dairy's actually not producing as fast as I would think. I went ahead and experimented when I checked in. I turned on the butter as well, but it still only used about 4,000 liters of milk between it, so I think it's doing the same thing that the fermenting silo or any other production I've tried does, which is it just splits what's going on if you have multiple things running. So there really isn't a benefit, but my thought initially was, well, it uses 15 liters of milk per cycle to get 13 liters of butter, but it didn't consume as much as I expected. What I was hoping was that if I turned it on, that I'd be able to churn through the milk a lot faster, and even though the butter was less profitable, at least kind of keep up, because at this point, the cows are getting close to being full again from milk. We're over 140,000 liters, I think. So I'm going to have to figure out what's going to make the most sense there. Alright, so since I know this is just a couple, well, a harvester and a bunch that I get off the field, I should be able to go for a little bit. Figured I'd give a little cleaner space, get rid of the interface, which I'm able to do here in FSN pretty easily. And frankly, I tend to forget to do in a lot of other cases, but a lot of the times it's easier to have it up to do things. But given that this job is so small, I just figured I'd go ahead and make it a little more immersive, if you want to call it that. I don't know. Don't know if it's doing that for you or not. Start running up and down the field here. So I should get, I think it was 20-some thousand liters or something of oats off the field. Again, I'll go ahead and sell that. I honestly didn't check. I just realized as I'm talking here, I didn't check to see if there's any land available. I know last night there still was not. So this parcel here is the last one that was on auction. I think that ended overnight. We also have this FM here on field 21. I've contacted them because they've had equipment sitting at the shop for quite some time. It looks like they're playing in another community and they've just decided they don't have time to do both, so they will be leaving the server here. So we're going to have another slot open if anyone's watching this in FSN and wants to join us. Last time I checked, we were the only Hobo's Hollow map out here, so I'm certainly enjoying the map, and I think it's relatively unique compared to other things out there in FSN. So, more the merrier. You know, we can get a empire going like I'm doing, you know, with Mithras and him selling me silage and so forth. So that's the next update, I suppose, is how that is going. So over 2 seasons, I've gotten about 55,000 liters, or $55,000 of silage from him. So I think that's doing pretty well. You know, again, I'm not making a ton of profit on that, but I'm making a little bit. And more importantly, it has kept me from having to worry about jumping in and keep that BGA supplied. It appears from checking the financial statement this morning that that has been running pretty consistently. I don't think it's run dry at any point, which is really what my hope was. Now, I will say I am getting more in the cows than I had expected to some degree, but again, I think I'll make a profit on that, but because the dairy is running as slowly as it does, I'm going to make, I think, a lot less than I was thinking I would. So what I don't have, and what I don't know yet, is what the full capacity of the food would be, and then once I'm there, if the processing slows down on the food, because I think, again, I'm using 4,500 liters in the cow barn every hour because it's consuming at 100%, and I think once I would fill things up, the cows will be less prolific in eating everything, or in going forward, because at that point we're just really needing to resupply the 3,500 they eat instead of the 4,500, so I think it would shrink and slow down a bit, but not really sure. Since I ran out of straw, and it's been a while, the barn has stopped. They're down to 0 productivity, and there's no food, like they've eaten all their food and so forth. And I think it's only been like 4 days since I put that 23,000 liters in there, so in the course of time, they used all that straw. Alright, so I wanted to just take a peek. We're at 12,000. Alright, so I think I can go another row here, but I will go ahead and get this harvested. And whoops, did I forget to lock on here? I think I did. I think I just turned around and lined up, but I guess I lined up pretty well given how it worked, but I think the straw swath shouldn't be too big of a mess. Shouldn't be too hard to pick up. But I'll join back up when I'm collecting some of the straw, so that at least you get to watch some of that while I go ahead and do that and have some different scenery while I just babble on. So I'll see you in a bit. Alright, I'm back here pretty quickly because I forgot I need to pick up that one straw swath, or that one straw along the edge that causes me potential issues with running into it, because again, I believe we've got the beware of straw thing running here, which I think will then have me chew up straw, and I don't want to be doing that. So just running over here and getting the forage wagon so that I can proceed. I am a little surprised, I would say, that given that it's 5 a.m. in the middle of summer, that it's as dark as it is here. I would have expected, working in the midsummer month here, that would have worked a little bit better. Because yes, I had waited intentionally to start work on the farm this morning until I could sync up and get to this point, with the assumption that, like I said, it would be a little more visible and it wouldn't be kind of the night harvest, but it kind of is the night harvest, so this is not lining up well. Let me go ahead and reposition here. There we go. Now that's always the challenge of kind of driving along the line, but it should be a little simpler, especially with the quad track. I think that's what I used last time, but if you remember, I had little pieces here and there. I may start doing that again because I felt I was drifting a little too much to the left, but looks like I got saved from myself there. but I had little pieces where I wasn't quite online and it wasn't picking up. But I should be able to get through this without filling everything, it looks like. And once again, obviously the straw, thank goodness, is a lot more prolific than the oats, because otherwise if I only got, say, 20,000 liters of straw off the field, that would not get me very far. Now, at the end of the line, because I did back up and so forth, I did expect that to be a little bit more challenging to collect, but I think I did quite well for that run, just manually driving that, which is really the only way I could have done that in hindsight when we think about it. This is not a GPS line, that is for sure, so it's a lot simpler to get everything picked up when you can just lock on the line and the tractor does what it's supposed to do. But if I get these two collected, I'll be good. I think again I might have a bit here at the end because it just spreads out a little wider. Yep, looks like a tiny bit left there. But at this point, then I'm going to be able to just run the oats. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run this over to the barn just so that things can get going and it can start finally producing again and getting feed generated and so forth. It's not going to do anything till 6 a.m., but it just would be nice to have it in there, and then that way I can go ahead and focus on harvesting the oats and come back and get the straw at the end. So I will go ahead and do all of that, and I think once I'm getting ready to truck the oats over will be the next time I'll hop back in here, so you can join me on the sale of those to see where we end up, and we'll go from there. So I'll see you in a bit.
There's nobody else better than me around. You know I'm the type to stand out in a crowd. You might be jealous, but I can't help it now. I'm like a diamond, can't stop me from shining bright. People stop and stare when I am in the sight. I look expensive, yeah, they all want this life. So here I am, look everyone, watch out for me, I'll be the one you want. I'll blow your mind, take you away. You know that there is no way I would change. Oh, everybody looks at me wherever I go. They all know that I love the attention and taking control.
Alright, so here we've got the last bit of oats. Turn the header off here. Get this parked over here. Alright, so here at Reverend Grain, this is one of the more profitable locations to sell the oats at. So if we take a look here, 452, it's actually right now the most profitable place to sell it. So it's about halfway down the farm, but more importantly, it gets us down here to where our silage supplier is doing their work. So we'll kind of get to see what it looks like there. So let's take a drive. Alright, turn on some lights here. But we'll get that down. And at this point, I could go ahead and sell it through customs. I'd probably make a good amount more. But at this point, I'm just trying to focus on kind of moving things along. While I was going ahead and doing the work, And hopefully you did enjoy a little bit of that musical interlude. We'll get back to a little bit more of that after I get this done, and I'm going ahead and picking up and moving the straw. But I just want to focus on getting that done. But I did check in the interim, and there is a parcel that has come up for auction, but again, not the ones we want, so not terribly helpful, but it's kind of down here in the center of the map. When we get to Reverend Grain, I'll go ahead and show you what that is. But we need to get down here near FSN, and then we're going to take a right. Yeah, Circle C Saloon here is where we'll be taking our dairy products, so I will go ahead and do that as well to get some of that moved along and see how that goes. But this, once again, is one of the reasons that I really do enjoy the map, because there's some diversity here. You've got some forests and meandering roads through here. I'm thinking, whoop, a little bit more challenging for me to steer through here, obviously, than one would think, but it's not working. I don't know why. Alright, so I think on the left we're seeing the fermenting silo come into view, and I think Reverend Grain was the far one, because yeah, that's the grain mill, but that's not what's giving us things. So it looks like he's got a full truck ready to go at some point. Whoop. I was thinking I needed to go in there. I'm enjoying his field a little too much. I was trying to see what kind of equipment he had. Oh, looks like he's going to be taking out some trees. He's got a wood chipper there, I think. I'm thinking this is just going to end badly. I don't think this is going to rotate in right. Well, maybe I'll be surprised. Let's see. Now, can I sell here? Is it working? Yes, it is. So let's just take a look so we see what the amount we get is here, because that's certainly part of the interest. So 11,511. Now I am a little surprised. Now well, I shouldn't be fully surprised. There's a possibility I don't have any kind of a bonus. So yeah, if I look at my environmental score, the problem is, as I figured, the grass field, so we're kind of literally right in the center. Although I am surprised that we're, like soil sampling and tillage, we don't have full credit, but it's possible because I also own that little plot 69 that has no field. So yeah, I'm just not sure that the environmental score is going to work out well. Oh wow, he's got a lot more equipment than I thought. Okay, so that piece of equipment I was confused with is he's got kind of a pretty fancy mower here, which makes sense for doing some grass work. Forage wagon, fertilizer, looks like a cultivator, obviously the seeder and the planter, but I think he's looking to expand a little bit. So this field here is the one that is up for auction right now. So, as I said, kind of right in the center-ish of the map, you know, close to his there. Oh, I did not realize that this one got picked up by the farmer there. So they are spreading out. I'm assuming they're going to maybe try to take all these. Alright, so I'm going to cut back, give you guys a little bit of the straw that you can enjoy as I work through that. And then we'll return once we're done with that. And as I said, we'll get into some dairy work, so I'll see you in a little bit. Well, hope you enjoyed some of that. A couple extra things in there with the mineral feed and so forth. Because one of the things I did decide as I was going was, well, I'm not just going to fill up the straw, I'm going to get everything topped off. So I went ahead, I filled the mineral feed, which I had said a few episodes back that maybe at some point I would do it. But also knowing that, there's a lot, or it's going to be good for a long time. Because if you remember, I said basically once it's full, it should last 28 days, assuming everything runs completely, and we're not at the point now where we can run things entirely as well. So this should fill up the straw. The hay is full. Obviously the silage is full because Mithras has been doing that to sell that silage to me, and so they've been keeping that full. But I've kind of looked at the fact that I've got quite a bit of work left to now deal with the output from the cows and so forth. So I'm going to, at this point, then close off this episode, because I think, again, I've got enough here that it's probably going to be lengthy. And just as always, even though I'm doing the work at the same time, because I know what I've got ahead of me, I'm going to turn that into a cow output episode. I don't know what you want to call it, but we're going to do that. But the scarier thing here, now that I'm done here, is this is all the extra straw I have. It seems maybe we got less straw. I don't understand. And maybe it was because obviously we had just limed the field and there's a little drop off each time until you relime. So, we only had like 25,000 straw, but, we dropped 10,000. Now, keep in mind we put over 100,000 into the barn. I think, well, actually, we know we put 147,000 plus into the barn because the cattle feed has been running. You know what, I was going to park it over there, but I'm going to leave it over here because I'm going to need to get straw. So I'm actually going to just turn it around and be ready to go, because really that's going to be the next thing. I mean, at this point, everything's full. But given that there's only 16,000 here, at some point I can just come back and get that. So I'm trying to think, what am I going to need next? Eventually I'm going to need to plant. I'm trying, with this tractor, I guess, is what I'm thinking of, not what do I need next specifically. So yeah, I think we'll get this over here near the plow, or the planter. It's a self-cultivator, so that's what I had in my head, which is why plow came out. Alright, so we'll get that positioned here, but it's been a pretty busy morning, and it's going to continue being a busy morning here on the farm. Definitely, getting impatient for this stuff. I don't know why I shake it every time like I'm pointing at it, but I'm trying to just make it more obvious. But obviously you've got the little crosshair. Really want that field. I really want this space for the yard. I mean, I still feel like I'm kind of in limbo, in a little bit of a halfway space, which I really am. But that's also why it's difficult to get in the flow of like, how is this farm going to run? But that's where I came across a few things that I realized, I can do something here, and I haven't been, and it's something to try out because I have stuff, but there'll be some changes, and so it's a little bit of a teaser for you for next time. So hopefully you'll come back for the next episode, especially if you're new to the series. This isn't something, even though we're over episode 200, don't feel like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to have any idea what's happening. The only reason this thing continues perpetually is it's really a never-ending type of series and so forth, because that's what FSN is. It just goes on and on and on, and we're in year 110 here, and you know, I've been part of this community since basically year 57, I think, or well, year 55 when I was a contractor. So at this point, I've been in for half the time that FSN's been in existence, and now I am kind of tipping over that midpoint where I could really probably be considered a veteran to some degree, because now I'm going to have been here longer than this place has been here, which I couldn't say until this year. So with that said, definitely, you know, there's going to be more going on shortly. It'll appear in the next episode, and I encourage you to come back, because I think there's going to be some surprises there of what is happening, or at least something new that hasn't been happening in Misty Hills before. So I will see you next time.